Should there be this much debate about the AL MVP right now? Or do we just need shit to debate about? Let's start with you, Jeeves. I'll start with the
Yeah.
Yankee.
I don't know. I mean, I think yes, both. I think it's a yes and situation because like if you just think about it, there's so much. You got School Bowl, you got Judge, you got like there's so many there's so many good options, but I just feel like for the track record, it's like, oh, Aaron Judge, obviously. Like, I don't know. So I think it's both. Yeah, people are just trying to find a place for discussion. I think it's also still a little early. Like there's still a lot of baseball left. But I think
Mhm.
it's like impressive to see how close it is right now. When you look from like just purely a number standpoint.
Yeah. Deuce, what you got?
I think the conversation is good. I think the comparisons have gotten a little toxic.
Crazy. Absolutely insane.
Insane because uh, Jim Harbaugh has a quote, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you're out to compare, someone else is going to always come out looking worse. And we have not seen a pure offensive season like the one Aaron Judge is having since really Ted Williams. And we have not seen a offensive season from a catcher like this
Yeah.
since Josh Gibson, maybe.
Jesus.
Oof.
Like it's been that long. I mean, Johnny Bench was never on this pace as much as he's maybe the greatest catcher. Yachty was never on this pace. Pudge was never on this pace. And, usually you have a sliding scale of defensive ability and offensive production at the catcher position. And so, if there was a season to have a co-MVP, this would be it.
Yeah, at this point, I think definitely Judge and Riley like neck and neck for sure.
Yeah.
Deuce, I was about to compliment you until you said Co. Don't you co-MVP?
If there was a season to have it,
Hey,
because
hey,
these
both
are these are apples and oranges. It's
Yeah.
so it you can't truthfully compare this without making someone look worse. I think it's going to be Judge for the record. I think it's going to be Judge, but
co-MVP. I will say this. First of all, Josh Gibson, this is why I have you guys on the podcast. Um, like I get it. I really do. Um, I get the Kyle Riley thing. 38 home runs. Is it 38?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because Bonds was 39. 38 home runs. That's great for a season for a catcher.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm saying like I'm not and for me personally, maybe for one, Jeeps, you played softball at a high level. Deuce, you played sports at a high level, and the way you analyze the game, maybe y'all can quantify more for me the catcher position. I get how important that is, and I get the value of that, but they don't put that up when they're comparing the stats. You know,
No, they
like like when they're showing like they basically is offensive numbers when they pull up the comparisons, and when you do that, that kills the Kyle Riley argument. Like I feel like maybe they should figure out a way to measure what Kyle Riley value is to the
Mhm.
pitching staff, to the defense in whole. And I think that'll probably help Kyle Riley a lot. Because man, when they put up the stats and you're batting 100 points lower in batting average, 200
Mhm.
points lower in OPS, and we're about what a home run different now. I think maybe a couple RBIs different. It that's a bad look for my boy.
Yeah.
That's a bad look. But I do like that we have a race.
Yes.
Oh, I saw
It
this. Go ahead, Deuce.
it's funny because it's so hard to quantify because Cal Raleigh is also the co-pilot for my money, the best starting pitching in Major League Baseball, the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah. The Mariners. Yep. They're
If you stuck me or you or Joe the plumber behind the plate in Seattle, it Brian Wu would still be good, but he wouldn't be as good as he is. He is their co-pilot. He's the guy that's game planning for hitters. He's often calling a lot of these pitches, and so it's it's almost like if an offensive lineman and quarterback was one position.
Yeah.
There are certain things that we can never truly quantify from the catcher position, and that we're about 1,000 years in human psychology away from fully quantifying those things.
Yeah.
I get that.
I
I
think
get
too, because if you think about like from, I mean, just from a non-quantifiable part, like of how much energy catching takes, the
Hmm.
the art of catching, like the the mental load that it takes. I mean, you touch the ball every play, like
yeah.
or well, almost every play. So it's,
Yeah.
I think that is, I don't know if there's a way to put a number to it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The only way that I can think just off the top of my head, like talking this out, is maybe comparing team ERA when he takes a day off.
Yeah.
But he doesn't take enough days off of that to be a good sample size.
Right.
Like you can't like Gilbert might have had a bad day. Like it
Mhm.
don't matter who was the catcher, but that might be the only way that I can think about off the top of my head.
Yeah, unless you like, you know how if you like work out or something, like your Apple Watch is like, how much effort have you put in? Like, I think it's like how much energy have you expended? I
Yeah.
think
Hmm.
if you did that every single game for 162 games and then looked at what that was like at the end of the season and then looked at the numbers, then maybe that would be quantifiable, but that's still subjective because it's like, oh,
Right.
you're surveying players to see how
Yeah.
tired they are.
Yeah.
And maybe they are over or under exaggerating those numbers too. So,
Yeah. And that puts you in a situation where you'll fuck around and you have a situation where it's almost like the MVP in the NFL.
Hmm.
Whereas like basically it becomes a quarterback award. Because
Yeah.
because if my pitcher's dealing and I play right field, I'm not gonna have a busy day. And that's not
Hmm.
my fault. Like I still went up here and went 2 for 3.
mhm.
Like it's not my fault the pitcher's doing good today. So like yeah, that would be hard to do because like you say, if I'm out here not doing that, I might just run back and forth a couple times.
And allow my trench bias to take hold. But if you talk to a lot of people that know a lot of football, there's a legit argument for Aaron Donald to have like 4 MVP awards.
No clue who that is. Y'all need to give me some football
All right.
education.
He's a defensive player. And defensive players
Okay,
never
sure.
win an MVP. But
Oh,
he was voted what, maybe 3 years in a row by the NFL players, by his peers, as the best
Yes.
player in the NFL.
oh, poor guy.
Better than Patty Mahomes, better than Brady. Like this guy was a absolute nightmare to plan for and attack. And it's very similar to Cal Raleigh, whereas like there's a lot of what goes on that flies below the stat sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I will also make a pro ignorance argument. If we knew all the numbers, it wouldn't be as fun.
also
That's true.
true. Also true. There is no debate there.
Right.
No debate is like, hey y'all, this is the facts. There we go.
Exactly.
I will say this real quick though to touch back on this. It's two more things I want to talk about with this MVP thing. One is, and I've thought about this in other sports because one thing that in any sport that you watch, there's always been the best player, and he might have played better that year,
Mm,
opposed to the MVP.
mm,
True.
Football kind of has that because they have the MVP and then they have the offensive player of the year and the defensive player of the year. Where like
yeah.
you've done great at this, so here you go. Basketball doesn't do it, and I felt like since Jordan, they probably should have done that because you get voter fatigue. And I think that's part of the judge situation too, and even Otani too, because if you look at his
Right.
numbers, why wouldn't he be the MVP?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that maybe MLB should adopt the best player versus and then the MVP award, like have two separate things? Because I thought about that with Otani. If he starts pitching again and he's a Cy Young and an MVP, is like no one's ever going to win MVP again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of have that with the Hank Aaron Award and the Cy Young Award.
True.
Both are technically below the MVP, and so I'd say probably Kyle Raleigh wins the Hank Aaron Award and
Mhm.
Aaron Judge wins MVP. I think that's probably the fairest way to splice this out. But if you are that good as a starting pitcher, you could be like Kershaw, who did win MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm anti pitchers winning MVP.
But
I am.
why?
You don't play enough.
Okay.
You don't
But
play
the
enough.
impact you have, I would argue the impact is still great enough.
Nah. Because think about it, right? Kershaw won what? When he won MVP, 20 games,
Mhm.
Back to back.
Mhm.
which is cool. 20 games. We play 162 games.
Yeah, but just think about those 20 games, the impact that you have on the rest of the rotation. Because if you have one guy on the rotation who is, and I mean, there's arguments against this because if you look at, um, the Pirates, obviously, but like,
Right.
um,
Oh, go ahead.
but
Keep going.
but it should, in theory, make the rest of the rotation a little bit better.
I feel you. Because they can eat up more innings, less stress. If
Hmm.
you're the number one, that means they're going against the number two, three, four, so on and so forth. I hear you.
But it also ups the competition because you don't want to be that guy on the in the rotation who is like everybody else is up there with your number one and your ace, and then everybody else is like you're like, oh, okay, this when we face their number six in the rotation, um, it's an easy win. You don't want to be that guy, so it's like it ups the level of competition, I think too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
36 starts ain't enough. Go ahead, Deuce. You look like you got it. Want to say something?
Well, no, I think if you it is certainly valuable to your team that your manager can hand you the baseball and know that you're getting 7 innings out of you.
Yes.
That's it. That's incredibly valuable, and it's something that only a pitcher can provide. And so, even though these guys didn't win MVP, if you talk to any Yankee fan, you know how valuable Andy Pettitte was because you knew you were getting
Mhm.
7, 8, 9 out of Andy Pettitte or Randy Johnson. If you're talking to a Diamondbacks or Mariners fan, like you knew you were getting the best out of that player.
Yeah.
And there is value to that, but at the same time, baseball MVPs are so crazy because we couldn't have Mike Trout take every at bat in the game. Couldn't
Yeah.
have Miggy take every at bat. We can't have Paul Skeens pitch every single day. So there will always be a little mystery to it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, love Andy Pettit. Love him. Love not Yankee Randy Johnson. Love him. I love it. But Aaron Judge plays 150 games.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Which
I ain't got a big long rebuttal. That's all I have for you.
which
150.
how crazy would that be to tell someone in 2018? Because I even for Yankee fans, the injury concern was so severe. I mean, there's a lot of long levers moving with that with Aaron Judge. So
Yeah.
the fact that he's been able to stay so consistently healthy is a miracle.
I think about that all the time.
Hmm.
You just gotta avoid gates in Los Angeles. That was that was crazy, but I can't be mad at nobody going for it. I really can't. But one more thing about this, about the MVP, and then we move on because I wanted to ask. I saw this. Do y'all feel like if Kyle Riley was a Yankee, he'll be an MVP? No,
No.
no. What about you, Deuce?
Yes.
Ooh,
This
why?
has been a thing.
Yes.
This has been a thing. People are saying that Kyle Riley's being uh, discredited because he plays in the Pacific Northwest. And you want me to tell you my debate on that, my pushback is the voters are supposed to be fucking watching baseball.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So if that's your job, like we're not talking about me who don't have a vote that has to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go to sleep on
Right.
a lot of Mariners games. But this
Yeah.
is your only job. So how is that even a narrative? Like you're
Yeah.
really putting an indictment on all the voters, saying that they don't watch baseball enough.
Mm.
Well, and I think there is a pinstripe boost
Uh,
for a reason.
Hmm.
There is a pinstripe boost for a reason, in the same way that there's a Dallas Cowboy boost for a reason, in the same way that there's a Los Angeles Laker boost for a reason, because they are the best teams and they play in front of the most eyeballs. And
Yeah.
it's not Cal Raleigh's fault that he got drafted by the Mariners. It's not Aaron Judge's fault that he got drafted by the Yankees. And even if you sign there as a free agent, them's the breaks if you
that
ended up in a big or small market. And so, you know, I think the if you're a player and you're basing how you feel about your career based on MVPs, then you're probably in the wrong industry.
Yeah,
But
unless you Juan Soto crying about 100 grand.
that's true. And so there is always going to be a pinstripe boost. If Junior Caminero was a Yankee, we'd probably have him in the top five.
Now, as much as I'm talking shit about the Kyle Riley situation, that is a definite with Junior Camarero. Now that is a fact. I believe that. But I'm gonna ask you this, G,
Raise up, baby.
as a Yankees fan, because I'm a Yankees fan. Like some of the teams I like are the legacy teams. I'm a Yankees fan in baseball. I'm a Lakers fan in basketball. I'm a Carolina fan in college hoops. You know what I'm saying? So it's pressure to it. Where you say there's a boost because they're the big organization, do you think they factor that in also as pressure though? Not just the boost of you play for these teams, the pressure of performing for those teams. Do you feel like that should be like an added factor of damn, and he balled in New York?
I think it is. And
Mhm.
especially it depends too on what the division looks like that year too, because if you've got, I think right now all across the league is pretty like there's pretty much parity kind of across the league this year. I think because hitting is a lot better. I mean, pitching is kind of like I would say meh across the board with the exception of a few stars. But like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I would factor it in. Like once we all three of us get our MVP votes, I will definitely factor in where you play. I think markets
Well,
matter. You know, I can't
and
imagine like imagine being Junior Camarero or
mhm,
like Glass now, and you go to the Dodgers. These games are different.
mhm.
You know, these games are different. You know, so I would definitely be like, hey, any balling under pressure, you gotta. I
Yeah.
would factor that in.
I think that helps it even out because, for Aaron Judge notwithstanding, who I think is a pretty unified, beloved figure in New York. I mean, there were even Yankee fans who were big hating on Jeter or A-Rod. And
My dad hates A-Rod.
and there were probably more Yankees fans who were really mad at A-Rod than Seattle Mariner fans who were loving Ken Griffey Jr. So like you have a much more unified fan base around you when you're in a smaller market. Like we're all rallying around Junior Caminero down here in Florida, or the people in Seattle rallying around Kyle Raleigh, no pun intended. But like whereas New York, you are gonna have a lot of haters because they are expecting dominance.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and we ain't got no stinking dominance in a while.